Hello and welcome to this video that will introduce the advanced features for searching documents with HistText. As you can see here, we can start from selecting a collection. In this case, I will be using again the ProQuest collection, and I will choose to examine how much was reported about cholera in the various English-Chinese periodicals of the ProQuest collection. It will take a little time at the beginning because I am searching for everything, so that you can see how many entries are present in this collection. Okay, as you can see, we retrieved a lot of documents, altogether more than 17,000 documents. Of course, you can download everything as we did before if you select full text, statistics, and etc. But here I just want to see how you can reduce the number of entries by focusing more precisely on the more relevant or more important articles, depending on what you're looking for. Now, the first option to decrease the number of results is, of course, to remove the full text search and focus only on the papers that include the title. Let me do it. I submit, and as you can see, the number of entries is considerably reduced because we have just a little more than 2,000 results. And if we go along all the results, then we can see cholera outbreak, cholera cases, cholera epidemic, and so on. I will restore the full text and submit my query again, and will explore other ways of focusing more precisely on a subset of the results. My first option here is, of course, to filter by date. You need to define a date range, beginning and end, starting with the year. By default, we start from the 19th century because some publications start very early. I will start from 1850, so you choose the year, then you have to select the months and then the day. In this case, I will start from the 1st of January. And I will examine the cases of cholera in the press all the way to the end of 19th century. So I will take 1899, December, and of course 31st. So now I can apply again, submit. To produce a new subset of all the articles that mention cholera in the text or in the title. As you can see here, we have 1,847 entries. So this is the first way to select a subset. On top of this selection, you can use also other filters. In the case of the ProQuest collection, of course, the query filters may change according to the collection. Full text, title, and date, of course, apply across all collections. In the case of ProQuest collections, you can select by what they call publisher. In fact, it's the source. So you can decide that you want only one, or two, or conversely, you want to eliminate these two publications. So we'll do both. First, I will select only these two publications and submit again. We obtain a very similar number of entries, 1,766 entries, because of course the North China Herald and the South China Morning Post are very important publications at the time. I can do the opposite. I can decide I want all the publications in the ProQuest collection but not these two major publications. If I do this, then of course I have a much lower number of entries. Perhaps if I remove full text, I may have an even smaller, actually even 0, which means that in none of the other publications cholera appeared in the title. It was related to information about death. So I will unselect not. And now you can also decide that you want to select within each publication a certain type of article. These are metadata categories defined by ProQuest, not by ourselves. So let's say I select articles, I select maybe editorial and feature article. Okay. And as for the sources, I could also apply not and eliminate these categories. In this case, I will keep them and I will submit again. So now I have a much smaller number of entries, a little more than 1,000, that represent everything that was published in these two periodicals, North China Herald and South China Morning Post, in the categories listed as article, feature article, and editorial. So you have here the main way through which you can select a subset of articles that would be more focused, depending, of course, on your research question and your target. Let me now show you the same procedure in Chinese. We'll select the Shempo revised. I will of course write the term for cholera in Chinese. And run the same search with a general query in text and title. Of course, this will produce a good number of results. As you can see, we have more than 8,000 entries from 1872, the earliest mention of Huoluan, of cholera in Shempo at the end of June. And the latest one was in 1949 in May on the 23rd. I can again filter by focusing on the title only. The number of entries drops considerably to 386 entries. Let me submit again with the full text and see perhaps what kind of results we get if we use a filter by date. I'm interested in the earliest period of the Shempo, so let's select from the year when it appeared, and I will take 1st of April all the way to 20 years later, and I will select December 31st. So now I have 413 entries. You can see that in the first 20 years, we have only 413 entries compared to the total of more than 8,000 that we had before. So it says something in itself of how much was being reported on these issues, both in China and abroad. As you can see, for those who can read Chinese, there are lots of articles where cholera, Huoluan, is in the title. There is even some sort of an editorial here, or there are of course indications how to treat. So this is very useful to use the title filter when you want to really focus on the more important issues. This can work also especially for the name of individuals. Let's say if I take Wang Jingwei, who was a very famous figure, if I run a blind search, I will have lots and lots of results. So let me, for instance, start from just the beginning of the 20th century all the way to, sorry, I forgot to check this, okay. And how much was possibly published about Wang Jingwei before the 1911 revolution? So I will take 1912 as my terminus and submit. Well, we have 32 entries, which is not bad considering that Wang Jingwei was just in the beginning of his political career. And we can see that the earliest mention of Wang Jingwei in the text somewhere, it doesn't appear in the title, was in 1908. Of course, it could be that it is a different person with the same name. This is possible. You can only solve this issue by reading the article, of course. But let's say that the article was a, revolutionary uprising in Canton in 1911 is probably linked to Wang Jingwei or vice versa. I use this very often when I want to focus on more specific issues. If I remove the text and click on title, I have only one entry here, which is for 1912. So I know that this is really about Wang Jingwei coming back to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to Guangdong. Let me go back quickly to the ProQuest collection again, just to show an example of how we can use the title to search for individuals and target them more precisely. In this case, I chose Xu Mo, who was a well-known lawyer, judge, and in fact also diplomat. Well, by searching the full text and the title, I obtained more than 562 entries. If I remove the full text, I will get less, 25, much less of course, but the interest here that I have ready-made information that can go into a database, for instance, because I know everything about the whereabouts of Mr. Xu Mo, going to Australia in 1941, or a meeting with the British ambassador or the Soviet ambassador, or being appointed to this and this country. Of course, we can retrieve more information from this set of 25 entries by selecting retrieving documents content, document statistics, and named entities. And as before, you can see the highlighted name of Xu Mo in the text. You can get the statistics, number of occurrences, the distribution by year, in this case by sources as well. And finally here you can have the list of named entities, 237 in this case, that were retrieved from this set of articles. If I select only the person and an organization, then I can see the kind of institution that relates to Mr. Xu Mo. You can also see obviously the problems of OCR that you would have to correct if you were to process this in any kind of and as before, you can also see that through the visualization where all the named entities are annotated and identified, you can see that here, for instance, this was missed. Nanking was missed. It means that, well, it's not always perfect, and you have to be aware of these possible deficiencies in the named entity recognition algorithm. This is all that I wanted to show in terms of the advanced features of the search and document retrieval interface for HistText. And I thank you for your attention. Join us for the next video that will introduce the NLP tool that we implement on articles in the HistText collections.